Hi, everybody. I just want to say welcome to this presentation focusing on team offense and some fundamentals. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here given this presentation, and I hope everybody watching gets the most that they can out of it and is able to find a few nuggets of information. Um, I'm hoping that some of this is a big review for a lot of people, but to be honest, it's always important to go back to some of the basics and kind of remember where we started to get things rolling. So, without further ado, this is Attacking on Purpose Fundamentals of Team Offensive Sets. And before we go into some of these nitty gritty, I always like to give an outline of everything so we kind of know where the presentation is going. We do the same thing in practice. We give our players an outline of what practice is going to look like, an outline of what the video is going to look like, just so we're all prepared and maybe we can get excited for some of these things later on. So, where we are going today, the structure of this presentation is going to first start off with philosophy, your how and your why. Your why is one of those big questions: why you play the way you do, why you coach the way you do, why you attack the way that you do. And it's important to have those identified because when everything goes wrong, you can always tend to fall back on how you do things and why you do things. And once we get that established, we're going to talk about the foundation of offense. And I'm a firm believer that the foundation of offense is the individual. You are responsible for bringing your best self and your best game. So, we're going to talk about where we can develop some of those areas and our responsibilities as individual players to become part of a unit in order to make things operate efficiently and effectively. Then we're going to go big picture. Now, there are so many offenses out there that somebody could run, and it tends to be a personal preference in the style of play, in terms of a coach, in terms of a team, in terms of the players themselves. But this presentation is going to focus off of one set. And the way that I like to teach things and really push is have the set in mind and kind of develop from there. So we're going to make sure we address what that set is. You guys so know some of the tenets of it, and then we're going to talk in how you build into that. So building from the bottom up, giving a few drills that you can work on your own, you can work on with your team, a few friends, however you can find that time and space. Hopefully, those drills will be an area where you guys can grow and really try to develop some of these fundamentals of playing as a team offense. So, the big questions, the philosophy, what are they? What's the how? What's the why? What I really like to push is who scores. Who scores is what matters. If you're a team that has one big goal scorer, that might be the style that you like to have. If you're a team that has a couple of little goal scorers that chip in, that might be the type of style that works for you. I personally love to preach from day one that it is about the unit. And when you make it about the offensive unit, you can't do anything but make it about everybody that's on the field being able to produce. So, at a minimum, I like to say for the international game, six or more scores. So, when you finish a game and you look at that stat sheet, six or more of your players should have points. Goals, definitely. Assists, those will count too. But being able to be a balanced offense where everybody on the field is able to chip in one or two goals a game gets you to some of those higher scoring opportunities. So, really trying to develop and push that when your team plays well, when we play well, we have six or more scorers. So, when you do review, you can say, okay, we only had five. If we can really push to try to get another score, that's going to add one or two goals, and that could be the change of the game. So, who scores matters. And it makes you harder to scout when you have more people that are scoring goals. It makes you harder to stop. And that's where I really like to teach that and push that a spread out offense, a disciplined offense, a multi threat offense really helps you in terms of attacking your opponents from as many ways as possible. And it's not just about who scores, it's about how you score. And it is the one of the best stats I think that's out there next to ice hockey has a really unique statistic called a plus minus. If you're on the ice when a goal is scored, you get a plus. So 6 players will get a plus. If you are on the ice when a goal is scored against you, you get a minus. So 6 players would get a minus. And it's a really cool way to figure out who is involved in things going well within your team. So taking that idea and moving it over to lacrosse, I like to push the number of assists that are happening within a game. 50% of your goals scored means that more people on your team are handling the ball, more people are involved in the offense and focused within the offense, and it creates a connection between your team. And when things are firing and that ball is moving, it is so hard to find a stop and have people make those slides and find those open players. And that confusion is something that I like to push a team offense to really take advantage of. So as we go into these fundamentals coming up here, the important thing to remember with this presentation, attacking on purpose, is how you score and who scores. You want a lot of people scoring and you want a lot of those goals assisted just because it's a little bit more difficult to stop as a defense. And as we get into a defense trying to play ill, what you're going to do against them, before we were to talk about the X's and O's, we have to talk about the individual. We have to talk about the person. And creating your offense to exploit a defense starts with one person. And creating this has to be done on purpose. You have to develop your hands and your feet on purpose. You have to put in the extra work. You might not get those reps in practice, but you have time to get those reps on your own. So, hands and feet, important number one. The ball's in your stick as an attacker. You got to be able to move and you got to be able to handle the ball. Personnel, KYP, know your people. Not only should you know yourself as a player, but you should know the people next to you as a player. You should know their tendencies. You should know what they kind of get in trouble with sometimes so that you can be there to back them up so that your offense doesn't fall into a slump because you aren't necessarily aware that your teammate likes to push through a double team every now and then, or your teammate really wants to go to her left. Knowing your people helps to set you up for even more success. And this is something that I say all the time. And sometimes I wonder if I'm understood with my team. Eyes. The offensive game is about seeing what is in front of you. See it, read it. See your teammates, see the defense that you're playing against, and read that situation. That is going to give you so many answers as to what you should be doing in specific circumstances. Now, that training and that preparation comes from practice, comes from repetition, but you have to be able to have your head up in order to see something when it goes wrong. You might want to go for that drive, but you have to see the double team coming towards you in order to see the pass that might be behind it. Okay. Reading your teammates and knowing that they are creeping around the crease. So you might want to start driving to one side in order to really exploit those defenders. But those eyes will determine everything. You can't play the game of lacrosse if you can't handle the ball. You can't play the game of lacrosse if you can't see the field. And you can't play the game of lacrosse if you don't know your teammates. So, hands and feet, know your people, and play with those eyes. Building the basics, our foundation. So, again, you're going to see this highlighted every now and then throughout this presentation that those stickwork pieces, those agility pieces, those footwork pieces are going to be the responsibility of you as a player. Players put in the work, and that work is beyond practice. You are responsible for those skills that you bring as an individual. Your quick feet and your calm hands are so necessary to take advantage and to create a nice flow of an offense. If you want free movement as an offense and you don't want to go play by play, you have to be able to trust something, and that's yourself. Those are your hands and those are your feet. So, like I said at the start of this presentation, some of these things are nice little reviews, but from day one of playing lacrosse to day whatever thousand it may be. Wall ball matters every single day. When you want to improve and you want to grow and you want to be that best player for yourself and your teammates, you got to have the stick in your hands if you're an attacker. Start with the basics and then allow yourself to get creative. Now, here I have some very, very basic go tos. If I'm about to pick up a stick and I'm going to go to a wall, this is what I'm going to do first and foremost to get myself warmed up. And then I'm going to start to get a little creative. And that creativity can come from yourself and how you like to handle your stick. That creativity can come from other players that you have seen play, hopping on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, watching different teams play across the world, different universities play, your own teammates. You're going to get ideas on how to really develop your skills, but you're not going to have time to develop those skills in practice. So hitting that wall and putting in that time is going to make a difference. I like to start nice and easy, 25 with my right, 25 with my left. And then I get my hands moving and I work on those switches. And then I work on passes from different areas around my body. That reverse shoulder pass, that reverse shoulder catch, bringing it back and ready to go. Bounce passes, going for one-handed stuff is so important. This game is not clean passes. This game is that ball coming at you, however somebody delivers it to you. So you take that stick, bounce the ball against the floor, hits the wall, comes back, you go up one-handed and you really try to get it. And then you do the reverse. So you kick it to the wall, it bounces down, and you've got to catch nice and low down by your hips. And then easy peasy, quick sticks, get it flying, get those hands fast, get those wrists fast. And that creativity, like I said, can come in any form. You can work on some of those BTBs. You can work on release points from your hips, from your toes. You can work on catching that ball and moving backwards, trying to get away from a defender, throwing in a dodge, and really trying to attack forward. But again, that is on you as a player. You got to do your research. You got to see who you like, their style of play that you can try to emulate. And it's going to start with those basics. That's where the work comes. And then that's when you can start pulling in the game. We didn't learn to play just by going out there. We learned by working on it. So you got to be willing to work on it with that wall ball. Same thing with shooting. Now, this is as basic as they come. But if I think about some of these NBA players that are just studs, Steph Curry with the Warriors, hitting threes left and right. He will sit in a spot and drill a three over and over and over and over again. And he is at the highest level considered one of the best shooters in the sport ever. I think we need to take those basics when we go into shooting on our own. Shooters shoot the ball over and over and over and over again. Now, I like to tell my team, go empty a bucket. Now, a bucket might be 60 balls. You should be emptying it like 5 or 6 times as you're kind of working on a shooting session, but make sure you're going through it. And you don't always have access to a cage. It's not always easy necessarily to get out to a cage, but as many times a week as you can. Again, in practice, you're going over a lot of drills, you're going over a lot of team concepts. Being able to work on your shot on your own is going to make you feel confident in those situations, is going to make you reliable in those situations. So, the basics I start with, I empty out bucket, I spread it out across the fan, and I have different spots. I have a clump of balls and I have the red dots out here is 5 different spots on the 8 where you can get them from. And then I go corner by corner. No, it's not just loosening up, but it's shooting on purpose and shooting to a specific spot. So I'll pick up and I'll do 25, every single spot, everything is high left. And then I'll get those balls out, put them back at those spots. Everything is high right. Get those balls out, put them back. Everything is low left. So you get the repetition of that movement. You get used to what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it looks like when you hit one of those perfect shots. And again, once you're standing, you want to progress. Just like with wall ball, you get creative. With shooting, you get creative. So once you've done some stuff stationary and you've loosened up, start doing it on the move. Go to those places that you tend to dodge from. Set yourself up there so you're getting used to those shots. And then put yourself in places that you don't normally dodge from. Work on a specific type of shot in a specific location that you want to get down. And if you're a shooter, you got to end on a good one, right? So make sure as you are finishing up, you're not just finishing up with some of this craziness, you're finishing up with some of those fundamentals. You're trying to hit a corner. You got to hit four perfect corners before you kind of leave the field. And if you have the time, it's great. If you don't always have the time, make the most of it and really try to put in the effort that you can with what you have. So beyond our stick is our feet. On this slide, I drew out a concept that I think has been beneficial for some of the players that I've coached. It's been beneficial for me back in the days when I was playing myself. But doing things around the area that you play in just gets your eyes, your head, and your hips oriented towards that cage. We never know when that shot's going to happen. We never know when that opportunity is going to pop. So we got to make sure that we're getting our eyes, our hands, and our hips ready. So out in this slide, can set up a ladder like you're going for a corner dodge. Okay. It could go over or under, but right here, what I have set up, you might start out going through ladders. You might just go 2 feet in each box as you go through, and then you're going to follow the cones. Okay. Without a stick, without a ball, you're going to sprint to cone one, tap. You're going to turn, sprint to cone two, tap. Sprint to cone three, tap, and then sprint all the way out to cone four, breaking the tape. Get through that line. This agility work is working on some of your starts and your stops and your explosiveness. You can be as creative as you want with this. Those agility drills, anything that's out there, you can find through professional sports and professional athletes that might be putting up some of their training on YouTube. It is an amazing resource. I personally love looking at professional football, American football, that is, and some of the running backs and how they play. I think their footwork is incredible. Their shift of weight really sells the story, and they always are accelerating forward. And that's a big thing with offense. We're always trying to accelerate forward towards a point. So I'd make a suggestion if you want to hop on YouTube and get a few options off of that, please go for it. But to complicate this one even further, so you went through the ladders on your own. You went to cone one, cone two, cone three, cone four. Next time, or after a handful of rounds, you can set up ladders and cones as if you're going to be dodging and orienting yourself again towards that cage. So you have your stick in your hand, you go through the ladder, just 2 feet in each box, and you're just cradling that stick. Okay, you're just handling it, handling it. Once you get out, you are driving to cone one, like that's the defender that you're going at. So your head is forward, your hands are back, and you're going in shoulder down, like you're taking that drive hard. You get there, you want to have those breakdown steps. Slow your feet down as if that defender made a nice stop on you. And you want to turn and protect your stick going all the way back towards cone two. So you're at cone one, turn, run to cone two. At cone two, you're going to switch your hands, put it in your left, drive down to cone three. Like you brought that defender with you. They're coming with you on this backwards run, and you have the re-attack. So you go down for the re-attack to three. Once you hit three, that defender did a good job. They turned you, they stepped in front. Then you throw in the drop step, the switch, and you're going to attack up and around cone four, making sure that you get around and down towards the cage. And it's footwork, agilities, stick work, working around the goal so that maybe you find yourself in that situation where you drive in, you pull out, you re-attack, and you see you've been overplayed, and you go for the final quick sweep across the top. It's an example. You don't have to be going through all of this, but you can be going through ladders for shooting. Just set up a ladder, go through the shot, go through the ladder, take one move, come underneath, get your shot off, set it up again. Go through the ladder, maybe go over top that time, take it down the cage, go again. But agilities and footwork are very important for you to be able to be moving around like you would be come game time. So we've worked on our shooting, we've worked on our general stick work, and we've put in the time, let's say, for our agilities and our general footwork. Once you're ready, as we progress forward, you play within the set that's designed for you. So KYP, know your people. KYS, know your set. Part of the responsibility of a coach and the philosophy of this type of attacking free set movement is knowing the personnel that you have and setting yourself up for success that way. If you have players that are so good driving from high, develop a set that opens up the lanes for them to drive from high. If you just have somebody that can thread the needle, find that feed anywhere on, you know, the attacking end, set them up for some feeds. If you are so good rolling the crease, design a set that helps you to roll the crease. Evaluate your players and your personnel and set them up in areas where they can be successful. Now, that's not to say that you should only run sets that put you in very comfortable positions for how you already play. We are constantly growing, we are constantly changing as athletes, and the best players put in the work and work on themselves. And opposite that, the best coaches push for players to grow beyond their comfort zone. So run an offense that works well for you. Run an offense that makes your players feel comfortable and allows them to be successful, but always push to develop something else. You don't want to be predictable as an offense. You don't want to be predictable as a team. And you want to be able to be multifaceted. That's in the development stage. And then those sets really help to take advantage of that. Team offense is about setting your group up for success. It's about setting your teammate up for success when you are on the field. It is about setting yourself up for success when you're doing the extra work. But everything is about succeeding. As we go into set talk, I like to break the field down so that we can understand our tendencies and what opens up for us as we attack from different areas on the offensive end. So I call these levels and lanes. Your levels are your 1, your 2, and your 3. That one level, those tend to be your crease drivers. Maybe some of those slip cuts. Maybe it's a power drive from outside, going hard, just trying to beat somebody with speed. But the 1 is a specific spot, a specific area. The 2, you see some of these elbow drivers. You see the whole inside middle open. Those are some of your cutters. Those are some of your 1-2 dodgers that it's not just a speed move, but they're shifty. So they're going to slice and dice and kind of cut you up on the inside. That 3 level, that's some power right there. That is setting yourself up for a lane down to cage. So those are the levels. The lanes, left, inside, and right. To be honest, I don't use left, inside, or right. I might say left, I might say right. I usually say middle. You're going to use what works for you. But as a player, visualizing the field this way helps you to see all the space that's out there. If you were to take a 3 drive from the 3 level, setting up on the left side, looking at the cage, as you go forward, very rarely are the next 2 lanes going to be open for you. So you got to know that as you go for this drive, you're going to be able to turn that corner and get down within maybe one other lane. Maybe you have two if your offense can really set you up for that. Or maybe you come across two and you roll back into one. But the lanes and the levels just help to break down the field as you're starting to learn where your offense is going to move, where you need to get to. Okay? Play where you are successful. If you are not the fastest person, you got quick feet, you got quick hands, and you're sneaky, three might not be the spot for you. If your coach tells you to play there, you're going to pop up there. But knowing what opens up where is going to be important. You need to see the space and take advantage of what you're given. So, with that, those levels and lanes, we're going to look at a diamond offense. Okay. So, the set, this diamond set, we have four people around the outside, and we've got two people kind of hanging out towards those inside corners. You can see I have lines to show some levels and lanes in terms of what we're looking to attack. Those red dots are a lot of your outside drivers. You've got a crease driver ready to look for a feed. Pretty good. Got an elbow driver over here. Can take it under, can take it over, could look for a feed as well. Nice power driver up top, going down, taking those lanes, maybe looking for some of those outside shots. And got another elbow. And then you've got these two inside players. These don't have to be players that don't drive. You can exchange with anybody within this offensive set. But typically, those players on the inside are the ones that will give space, move to the inside as that ball might be driving an elbow, and then look to cut. They're shifty, they can handle the feeds well, and they have a quick release. This offense sets you up for drives, feeds. Anybody can be successful within it, and it really helps you to create space. A lot of times within offensive sets, when there isn't space, we don't necessarily know where to go. We get clogged, we get stuck. The levels and lanes help to give you roles, and they help to show you where you can take that space. So everything from here on out, as we talk, is going to be about developing our vision, our skills, and our connections within this diamond set. So we're going to break it down. Low drives, high drives, elbow drives. So we know what the flow of this set might be looking for. And again, these are all attackers. Green are just kind of those inside players that are looking for some of these cuts, these pulls away. Red are a lot of your drivers, maybe people that you're looking to have feed. So for the low drive, we've got the ball, we got the player with the ball. As they pull off the crease and look to attack in, the diamond has shifted a little bit. This inside player that was originally here, you can see him in the previous slide, has pulled across the 8 into a different lane to open up some space for their teammate to drive into. This outside player on the diamond has pinched in. They will shift up. And these arrows show as they move what they might be looking for. Looking to drive in, that's hers. She's going to pinch, maybe look to back door, because if the drive goes hard enough, her defender will slide and she could be open. This inside player that pulled over is pinching towards this top corner here and is looking, if her defender goes, can she pop down can she pop the ball and be open? And this space is clear for the drive. Because this low player has pulled wide and is looking to drive in, part of this team offense is moving together. So this corner player right here is going to pinch down to back up the ball. As she pinches down, her responsibility is to make sure she is evening out the field in case that shot happens. You don't want to lose that ball behind. That is a big no-no in my book. As an attacker, when you know you're back there and you see the shot coming, it's your job to get it. This player from the corner really hasn't moved. She might be engaging her defender a little bit, but she is making sure that she is holding space. The high player is going to pinch a little bit, but not go in. She pinches wide so that she can be the option in case this doesn't work and this doesn't work, and that ball needs to move. So on that low drive, this crease player controls the ball. She's in charge. She's got that lane that we've given her. We're going to pinch the corner. We're going to pull the middle, and we're going to hold out high, ready to be that option, and always backing up the ball. So within this set, as it moves, and there's freedom, this isn't a structured movement. You don't have to be in specific spots. But when somebody comes around the crease, you got to give them a lane. You got to look for that draw and dump. You got to look for that maybe inside cut. You got to back up the ball, and you got to hold your space. So for the low drive, this is what this team movement kind of looks like. As we go, if the low drive's not there, we're going to move the ball high. So for this high drive, we can see the ball went from low, and now the ball's coming up top. The player that was looking to pinch is going to drop and hold on her side. The reason she's going to hold on her side, we just attacked this lane. We don't want to attack it again. We want to change the position of the ball and attack it differently. So hold outside. This inside player, as we go to the next slide, is going to pull back to where she came from because she's got somebody on this side as well. And these two are moving side to side, but they're always trying to open up space. So she's going to pull back. And she's right here. The player that was on the corner, she now pinches in, and you can see her pulling. The player that was going to back up the ball. If this doesn't work and there isn't a shot that comes off of it, we move the ball up top. She can adjust, but she can hold out here in this empty space. She is looking to have her defender pinch to find this 2v2 and this slip cut to go underneath. So when that ball's high, the inside is going to clear out. Inside clears out. Corner pinches down. Corner pinches down. The crease is going to back up the ball. And we're going to go for that drive from high. It's a nice open lane, ready to turn that corner and maybe get this shot off. If the D slides up, we have the open player. If the D slides from the middle, we have the open player slipping to the inside. But the high player takes the lane that they are given. If that isn't there, we can always swing the ball outside to the corner. So the ball goes high, and then the ball gets kicked out to the corner here. At any point within this set, the corner player can get it. When that happens, Again, the inside clears out. Give her the lane, the space to take. The crease player is still backing up the ball, but they might pinch a little bit backside. Maybe we get shooting space. So she's moving and grooving. She's not coming up, but she's engaging. Corner is going to pinch down again. She might be this crazy cut underneath. She might be a cut over top, but she's definitely holding space. This high player, if they went for the drive and they dished the ball down low to this corner player, they're going to move out and be ready to be this help option because we have cleared out pretty much a whole lane and a couple levels for this corner player to take it over or take it under. And off of those 3 types of drives, the low, the high, the corner, we get a lot of team movement. Now, the big thing within this set is we know how to take advantage of those positions. We know how to move to create those lanes. And then we learn how to read our defense because if we go hard, somebody's going to come play us or we're going to have a goal. But we have to start to develop off of those contingencies. So now that we know the type of role for the players within this set, those outside players, those inside players, high and low, we're going to go into how do we develop the play for ourselves within this set. Because coach can draw this up and it can look great. But what do we do when we get there? We're the ones on the field. We have to be able to play what we see and read the game. See it, trust it, do it. These drills that we talk about are things that I'm sure you have done. However, we want to make sure that as we do these, we are trying to take advantage of developing our vision. Confusing slide, I know. They're cones for 1v1 drives. I didn't want to put a slide up here that said, take the 1v1, take it from low, take it from a corner, take it from high. That's not sharing any knowledge, if you will. As a player, you have to think about what you're trying to create, to exploit, to take advantage of. And as a coach, you have to try and figure out how do people tend to move so you can instruct others to move with them. So how we work on these fundamentals. Cone shooting. So we talked earlier in the presentation, shooters shoot. You got to let it fly. But shooters shoot in ways that they're going to shoot in a game. Setting up cones helps you to work on that footwork and those agilities in order to take advantage of your defender. So there's cones for each of these outside spots. This low player, drive one side, pull the back of the crease. I like to call it painting the crease because you're coloring it in with your feet. So you're going to paint the crease. You're going to come wide and in and dodge a defender over or under, but going cone, cone, in, trying to get the shot. Makes it a little more realistic. A corner player. This is set up for an underneath drive. I couldn't really get the lines to bend on PowerPoint, so bear with me with these straight lines. You're not actually going to move so rigidly. But as you go to drive, you want to drive in, get your defender to step up, drive into the cone, get down, and try to get underneath. This high player, nice and easy. Pull them wide, take them inside. Drive out wide, send a shift, a switch, a pull, and go down and in towards the crease. The other elbow, we went under On our previous elbow, we're going to go over. Take them down, split them over top, push that lefty shot. These can be switched and put on any side of the 8 to set yourself up for the type of drive that you like. But you can do this as a shooter on your own. And then we should get into practice and start doing these 1v1s. And that's the individual piece. That's what you can work on. Then, once we get into 1v1 build up, we're going to look to play 2v2s. Lines out here in 2v2s. You can play with the person next to you, or you could play with the person opposite you. So for this slide, the ball is high, and we can play to our left. We're going to drive to the outside. This player is going to drop and look to slip underneath. We're either going to get the 1v1, or we're going to get that player slip into the middle, and we can have that feed. Because I drew that offense out and I explained it with a lot of drives, but it is about the ball movement. How quickly can we get this around? How shifty can we be and take advantage of defense sliding? Same thing we're going to take care of with opposite the ball. So when you're high with the ball, you want to look for that player low working with you. I might drive to the outside here to my left. My teammate is going to act like they're cutting the crease, come across the back, and maybe I see them on a backside cut of the crease. When you do 2v2, it doesn't have to be strict and structured, but you have to have some ideas of what you're trying to take advantage of. And these are just those small examples of a couple things that you can take advantage of when you play 2v2. Keep your feet moving. Give your teammates space. And if they need help, you pop hard for that help and you get moving down the cage. Always with your eyes up, seeing what is in front of you. As we go through this, we're going to complicate it. So 2v2 isn't about just the drive and maybe the dish. We're going to get to 3v3s, and we're going to start talking about how we're going to feed. Feeding is what's going to set you up to those 50% of your goals being assisted. Starts with your fundamentals. It starts with your stick work, your ability to handle the ball and deliver a good pass. That's your responsibility. Your ability to move those feet and get around that defender to make a clean pass. Bring those fundamentals into this. So 3v3 on half of the space that we're working with. So I put a red line up to kind of show some of that. The red are the attackers and the blue dots are the defenders. That ball is going to get passed in, and it can get passed in to low, outside, or high. As it gets passed in, we want to take it on the move. As we take it on the move, and as this is drawn out here, you can see the ball's going in. We're going to look to pinch. If she goes hard enough, this D should be able to jump. And then we have that slip cut because we pinched the corner. If this defender that's pinched lower, marking her, that's her defender. If she drops, we have to have our eyes up to see that high pass, and this player can come down and has this whole lane to play with. That is just one option of the type of movement you can see off of this drill. But the key concepts that you focus on to get this offensive movement in, playing with your teammates. Give the ball space. Trust your teammates that they want to go to cage, that they are trying to get the defense to bite, to pinch. And then you look for that slip cut. As you take that lane, we look to have an outlet as well. So this high player is the one looking to be the outlet, and then she has room to drive back to the inside. As you play this drill, you want to be disciplined. You don't cross that lane. We want to make it harder on ourselves, but we want to play the 2 lanes, not always play in the 3 lanes. Because if this was the diamond set, we would have a player here pinching down. We would have a player maybe over here who pulled across, and then we'd have another player sitting right here. So we'd have another 3 people in that 66 situation. So setting yourself up as you play, restricting yourself a little bit, not to just take in what you want to take, but taking what you have. And in this drill, you only have 2 lanes. Okay, we're cutting off that 1 lane for you. So 3v3 on half the 8. Nice way to get working with your teammates, to see how 2 people work together and what that 3rd person can do by being that option high. We're going to complicate it even more. We're going to make it so that the D doesn't start out marked on you. And we're going to start to create some situations where you as an attacker need to read people moving towards you. This game, if you move that ball and you start engaging defense, is not just about passing and choosing to drive. This game is about constantly moving and trying to find the space that might open up for you because we have an overload somewhere. So this pentagon, I almost called it a hexagon. Ooh, pentagon, 5 sides. This pentagon is the coach. These are the balls. The coach will pass the ball in to any red attacker. The blue are your defenders. They're going to start a little wider, and as the coach goes to pass, they're going to pull in and touch sticks, and then they're going to pull out. Defense will meet to touch, but as that happens, this is where the offense starts to read their defense. We can't just stand and expect a pass to come in and then drive. The D is going to slide and pick us up. So we have to shift into places where our D is not, so that when the ball is passed in, we can take advantage of it. And then it's free play from there. It is about you moving that ball to try to find your teammates. You moving into space, taking space, giving space. But if that ball, let's say, was passed low, we want that player taking it on the move up. And as she does that, you can tell I have a sensitive mouse pad in this presentation. As she does that, she is going to be pinching to pull away so that D doesn't slide to her easily. And she's going to be dropping in because she could be that quick feed. If D is touching here, they're going to have to slide flat in order to get to this player. And we want them to be able to catch that ball on the move. So you move before the ball gets there. You move into space so that defense has to shift to you. But if you stand still, defense will slide in and slide right back out, and you will be none the better because we haven't started to move. Move or die. Find a rhythm, play a possession. As you go through those 1v1s, you try to get those 2v2s, even those 3v3s. Those are quick hitters. But an entire offense set, this diamond set, is about finding a rhythm, finding your movement, connecting with each other. And we're going to do that by playing 5v5. 5v5 is one of my favorite ways to play. It's fast, it's physical, and you can really see the space because there's less people involved. So as you think of 5v5, we're going to think of this offensive movement in sections. The first 30 seconds of this set, it's still a diamond set. You can see the 4 attackers on the outside in red. This green inside player is an attacker as well. And we have defense marking them. As the ball moves around the outside, you're active. You're going to pop to the ball. You're going to take it down on the move, but you're not looking to drive just yet. For the first 30 seconds, let this player work. Let her try to take advantage of just one player being on the inside. You are looking to feed the cutter in the first 30 seconds. This cutter, we haven't talked much about this cutter. You want to be pulling opposite the ball, and you are not cutting every single time. Inside players are annoying, not because they're constantly making big movements, but because they're constantly making small movements. You're not running around back and forth. See the ball. As it moves, slowly set yourself up for success so that you have room to cut towards it. Now I know why people constantly have water anytime they're giving a speech or something. Really gets your throat there. When you're moving, make sure that you're pulling opposite. Let's find this mouse. Pulling opposite and setting yourself up for a cut to ball. So if that ball's high, maybe you drop a little lower. You give a shimmy and a shake. You might cut across the bottom. Shimmy and a shake. You might cut up top. That ball was to move down low. Pull opposite. Stay high. And as we play this, look to set yourself up for success for the hand that you want to catch that ball in. Throw a little shake and bake in there. One side, the other. Cut down. And then maybe you're tired. So that ball might shift and might come across. You can just hang out and give a little space. But for 30 seconds, you're working hard. For the next 30 seconds, practice those drives. The outside players are going to be able to take those drives. So inside player, pull opposite again. Very important rule. With the ball getting high, you pull low, you pinch down the corner player, and we take that drive. And we see if the D bites, and maybe we have those slip cuts. If it's not there, move it again, pull opposite, let this player drive. Drive under, drive over, ready to be the outlet. But for 30 seconds, you're going to play the drive. And once you get a feel for both, you've looked for the cutter, you've looked for the drive, the next 30 seconds, you're going to look to just open it up. So I like to put in rules as a coach that you can only hit the feeder in the first 30 seconds. There is no driving. And then the next 30 seconds, you can only hit the cutter. And then the last 30 seconds, free play. So you can start to take advantage of some of those things you saw earlier. The ball needs to move. You should take advantage of the fact that you only have one thing to think about. And if it's the cutter, zip that ball, see where it opens up. If it's the driver, go hard for the drive, move it once, move it twice, look to drive. But the concepts are the same. Move your feet, handle the ball, keep your eyes up, and go together. 5v5 play, changing those levels and those lanes. Now, Obviously, 6v6 play could be the next piece where you just work out this set and you try to find some of those looks. But you got to be able to play fast and take advantage of situations. And those don't always come up in 6v6. So I like to set up stuff to really focus on those eyes, create those situations for players. I call this Y drill. Why? I don't know, but it stuck with me. Maybe the original shape was in a Y with the players. But for now, we go with it. It's an open drill that you can set up any way you want. You can put out any number of people you want, any number of defenders you want, but you're trying to set it up so that there's an overload or there's an easy look that you force movement with. For this drill, coach is the pentagon, ball's here, red are the attackers. So those attackers are set up crease, elbow, inside, elbow. And we set up the defenders before the ball moves in. They have to be in these spots. Opposite crease, elbow, elbow. But they're a little far away. And then we have a trailing person. As the ball is passed in, if the ball gets to the corner right here where the mouse is, you can see that defense will have to slide. If she stands still, she's in a double team. So she has to move. And as that happens, you have 1, 2, 3 attackers and only 2 defenders. So as we play and we move with the ball, we look inside, low, opposite. Where is that defense? You might get the ball and move low. She slides. She slides, and it's a nice pass to the corner player, and she goes right into cage. This sets up you reading the play, reading the defense, and moving with your teammates. It has to be quick. As we go into a set, a free movement offense, you get freedom by doing it well on your own. And it comes from practice with stuff like this. This Y drill really sets stuff up. Any situation you can think of, you put people out and you play it. And you play it as fast as you can. The faster you can play it, the quicker you can read it, the sooner you'll recognize it when you're in a game, when you're in a 6v6 play. And that's what it's about. It's about putting all those little pieces together to make a big piece. And it's about playing that big piece and trying to find the little piece. Scoring on purpose, attacking on purpose. It only takes everyone. An offensive unit is not one player. An offensive movement is not one drive. It's engaging. It's creating to take advantage. It's about the unit. Know your players and develop yourself. Bring your best to that moment and do your best in it. And then take what you learned and improve on it and come back even better. You'll learn to read defense. You'll learn to play with your teammates, but you need to invest in yourself. And as you do that and you're comfortable, you can start to learn other people. Know your players, develop yourself. Move on purpose. Even if it's just to open up space, great job. Make sure that you are not standing still. You can hold space and be dancing a little bit. You can have those short movements, but your head's always up. Your movement is not for you. Your movement is to move the defense. So much of these drills that I talked about within this presentation move the defense so you can start to see more space. And seeing it is so much. You have to keep your head up. You can't drive with your head down. You can't drive with just your hands back and think you can only see the cage. Know the cage. That comes from your shooting. Know where the cage is because you have shot the ball from all over that space. Eyes are up to see where the D moves. Eyes are up to see your teammates. See it, do it. Be willing to take the risks. Trust your hands. An offense that moves the ball quickly, an offense that can attack from anywhere, can handle the ball anywhere. If you put in the work, your hands will follow. If you trust your hands, that ball can come out of your stick. You have to be willing to trust your hands to take the risk. You have to be willing to let it fly. Shoot your shot. Dish the ball. Take the risk. It's about playing with your teammates together and as yourself. And that is attacking on purpose. I hope this gave you something to think about, to highlight, to work on, or it opened up your eyes to the idea that it can be more than just a play. It's a movement, it's a unit. And when you play that way, you get a lot of scorers and you find a lot of assists. It is exciting lacrosse. Take advantage, do your work, and have fun. Thanks for listening. I so appreciate the opportunity to talk and present and put some knowledge out there. I am incredibly passionate and hope you picked up on some of that energy. All the best. Get out there and lax. Thanks. Bye.